doing
Tracy
it?
Wright.
One of the other kids to take responsibility.
I did, but I think
They're not doing it.
Salvatore. Maybe you could just stay there.
Play on this. Go for it, Salvatore.
I start? I
He
don't.
sees a giant mountain he's climbing here.
Yeah, he definitely. Oh goodness.
There you go.
Okay. Nerve-wracking.
You're good to go?
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning. It's great to be here today. My name is Taryn Burns. I'm a proud public school parent. My two sons attend PS 39 here on Staten Island. The school has been incredibly supportive in, the environment for my children. We moved to the neighborhood from Brooklyn about 3 years ago, and they did nothing but welcome us with open arms. My son Patrick is getting prepared to go to middle school, and I have to start thinking about, double drop-offs in the mornings and getting different school schedules, so that's a little difficult. But I'm excited that the city is going to be transforming this area into a brand new facility. Once I heard that St. John Villa has closed, I knew how important it was for the public city schools to take this opportunity and make this school a good space for them. The new facility means better options for parents like me and makes it easier for getting my kids to where they need to be when they need to be there, and their activities every day. Instead of transforming this to some random developer that would do who knows what with it, the city made a good investment in the community. I want to thank the mayor, along with the chancellor, for making the commitment to our children. And my pleasure to introduce Mayor de Blasio.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much. Appreciate it. Thank you, Taryn. And Taryn, I want to tell you, Salvatore's doing a good job over there. He's got an idea of his own over there. But Taryn, really summarized right away why this matters so much, because there's lots of families in this community who need great public school options. And Taryn represents a family that needs both new middle school options and needs 3K soon, because Salvatore is just turning 2? Just turned 2. So when 3K comes to Staten Island in a year, in September 2019, that is going to be a major, major priority for our team to get that up and running. We're very, very proud of the fact that Staten Island will be one of the first parts of the city with 3K. And for any parent, I can tell you, and I went through this with my children, Kiara and Dante, when you can find a great early childhood education place for your kid that's high quality, that's safe, and that's free, it's a huge load off your mind. And we all know, every parent knows, in this city of ours, you're talking $10,000 to $15,000 a year per kid for early child education if you have to pay for it separate from the public system. So we're really excited about 3K coming. This is a site we're going to be looking at. Middle school options we're going to be looking at here. Salvatore really thinks this press conference has gone on long enough. But he's like, why is it droning on? But let me say this, that we're here in a site, and I know the borough president will speak to this too. This is a situation, of course, no one wanted to see, for St. John Villa Academy to close. That's not something we ever are happy about, but we know sometimes these changes happen. And the question was really what was going to happen next. And the danger was clear. The danger was a developer comes in the name of profit and does whatever they want, and not something that benefits the community. Unfortunately, we have a really clear example of this nearby at Mount Manresa. And that was a very painful episode to watch, and Borough President and I spent a lot of time trying to work on it, and we offered to the developer to buy them out, but they had their own vision. They would not stop. And let's be clear, someone in the private sector has no obligation to think of the needs of parents like Taryn. We do. That's what we do. And that's why it was so important to make sure we got this property. Once it was going to be sold, it was important for the city to step in. And this is part of, a bigger point I make all the time. It's a question of fairness. I want this city, all 5 boroughs, to be the fairest big city in America. You can't be a fair city when you get condos instead of schools. That's the bottom line. This place is perfect for education. It should be a place that educates future generations. It should not be a place for luxury condos, and that's why we stepped in. Now, we can do some great things here, and I gotta tell you, I'm really excited because when we get to make a new facility, it's state-of-the-art. The things we're going to create here for our kids are going to be the very best in the whole city. And that's exciting to me. And I think it's also a way of honoring the history of St. John Villa, that a place that for about 100 years educated the young people of Staten Island will be a place for 100 more years where young Staten Islanders get a great start. Maybe a different name, but it's going to be the same history continuing of really supporting our young people. So we believe we're going to be able to put over 1,000 school seats here. That's a big, big impact. Every year, 1,000 kids will get a top-notch education. Every year, 1,000 families will have the peace of mind of knowing there is something great for their children right nearby. And it's part of a bigger effort. And you're going to hear from Lorraine Grillo in a moment, and she is leading the way. We have put $4.8 billion, with a B, $4.8 billion into effort to create 44,000 new school seats around the 5 boroughs. 8,500 were open in the last year. You're going to be seeing a lot more. Finally, I'll just say, we know, and I can tell you, I was a public school parent the whole way through with both my kids. First mayor, apparently in history, to serve as mayor with a child in public school. I can tell you, as a parent, there's nothing more important than having a high-quality school that you can depend on. When that's a part of your life, when you can depend on it, everything else works. And that's what we want to guarantee for the people of Staten Island. I'm just going to say a few quick words in Spanish. No vamos a permitir que los residentes de Staten Island pierdan una escuela por los promotores de bienes raíces. Por eso, estamos comprando este terreno para construir una escuela pública donde una vez hubo una escuela privada. En la ciudad grande más justa del país, no vamos a invertir en condominios de lujo. Estamos invirtiendo en los niños. I like that last line. We're not investing in luxury condos, we're investing in our kids. With that, the man we have entrusted to make sure all 1.1 million public school kids get a great education, and he is off to a great start, our Chancellor, Richard Carranza.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I'm going this side.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I want to thank everybody for being here. Mr. Borough President, Lorraine, thank you. And I want to thank you for your comments. It's always important to hear from our parents. Terrence, so thank you for being here. And Salvatore is found a seat. He's exploring the grounds. Okay, good. We expect a full report.
He's going on an official tour.
So we're incredibly excited to be here on Staten Island with obviously our mayor and our borough president. Today's big news, and it's a big win for the parents and students of Staten Island. The acquisition of this campus and converting it to provide over 1,000 public school seats here on Staten Island is a huge win for this community. The new 7-acre campus gives us significant space to meet the needs of the district, but the needs of this borough and this community. This long-term investment will benefit the community for years. New facilities will provide our students with the tools and obviously the resources that they need to achieve new and exciting learning opportunities right here in their neighborhood. More seats, we also know, means more options for families, and that is central to our equity and excellence agenda. We want to make sure that our families and our students have options, that they have seats in which to secure those options, and they have that as close to home as possible. The programming for this site will be designed to meet the specific needs of this community, and we will work closely with families throughout the process. Continuing to invest in creating new seats across the city. Our capital budget, as the mayor has already mentioned, includes $4.8 billion for over 44,000 seats in the public school system here in New York City. I personally look forward to starting work on this site and opening up the seats to our families here in Staten Island. Just a brief word in Spanish as well. De parte de todos los estudiantes aquí en el distrito escolar, me da mucho gusto estar aquí con nuestro alcalde, nuestro presidente del condado, la señora Grillo, y también a la señora Burns, que es una madre de estudiantes aquí en este barrio. Sin embargo, tenemos mucho orgullo de poder anunciar este edificio y este lugar, este campo, que va a ser un nuevo campo que nos va a dar casi 1,000 de asientos públicos para nuestros estudiantes aquí en Staten Island. También me da mucho gusto, aliado con nuestro alcalde, aliado con el señor presidente, de anunciar que en este edificio, en este campo, va a haber un proceso público en donde las voces de nuestra comunidad van a poder participar en determinar qué es lo que se va a llevar a cabo aquí en este campo. Entonces es un gran día para todos los residentes de la isla de Staten Island y para mí un gran orgullo de estar aquí. So, muchísimas gracias y a celebrar. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well done, brother.
Thank you.
Okay, I need you to come up and do that in Mandarin now. Okay? Let's see how good you are. This is an exciting day for another reason. We're going to hear from Lorraine Grillo, and I think it's the first public event I've been to since we gave her another hat to wear. So Lorraine Grillo has done a spectacular job as the president of the School Construction Authority. Just very quickly want to remind people, not so long ago in this town, you said the word School Construction Authority, it meant slow, ineffective. It meant a lot of frustrated parents waiting for results. It was synonymous with not getting things done. Some of Lorraine's predecessors started to make a big change, but Lorraine has really taken it to higher heights. Now you say the words, and I've got the foremost critic of ineffective government over there, Mr. Otto, you'll hear from. Now you say the word School Construction Authority, it is synonymous with efficiency, effectiveness, speed, the good use of the taxpayers' money. And Lorraine Grillo gets a lot of credit. She has served in the last two mayoral administrations, proving there are some things the people of different parties can agree on. We both agree on how great Lorraine Grillo is. But you know what? There's a problem when you succeed. You draw attention. And so it became clear that there was more we should ask of Lorraine Grillo. While continuing on the mission of building our schools, we needed her to build a lot of other things. And so she now has a second title as Commissioner of the Department of Design and Construction, responsible for a lot of the things the city builds all over, all different agencies, all different things that we need in this city. Very big job. So she's got two big jobs, two great teams she will rely on. And Lorraine, I just want to say I thank you for being a great public servant, and I thank you for being crazy enough to say yes to my offer. And let's hear from you on what we're going to be able to do here on this site.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're very welcome.
I'm a little shaky here. Okay.
The heels there.
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is for the SCA. This 7-acre property is truly a dream come true. I cannot tell you that there's nowhere else in this city of New York where we can find a fabulous 7-acre property. So we're excited to get started. The plan here is to begin what we call our public review process in the fall and get comment from the community, get comment from the CEC. At that point, we will take this to the city council for a vote, and then we can proceed. We are looking at a full master plan here. This is not something we're going to do in a slipshod way. We're going to do this as a comprehensive plan. So we will work with Chancellor Carranza. We will work with Borough President Otto, the elected officials. But more importantly, we're going to work with the parents and the community to come up with ideas for the future of this site. We're very, very excited to get started. As I said, it's a dream come true for the SCA. So hopefully it'll be a dream come true for everyone here. Thank you.
Amen. Well, I want to say before I bring up the Borough President, first of all, a real thanks to Borough President Otto and his team. You've been very gracious hosts this week. City Hall in your Borough Week. It was fantastic last year. It was fantastic this year. We got a lot done both years. I look forward to next year. We're going to get a lot more done. But as always, you're a tremendous partner in government. And I want to say, as I bring him up, that this experience here, and he's going to speak about his own very personal views about what we needed to do here. But I really want to emphasize how much that Mount Manresa experience affected all of us. And I could remember sometimes, I've never seen you be emotional, ever. That's for anyone who knows Jimmy Otto, you get the reference there. But I saw the frustration on your face so many times at the notion of that site falling into the hands of developers who just didn't care. And we got, unfortunately, a lot of confirmation of that every time we tried to talk to them about something that might actually serve the people of Staten Island. We fell on deaf ears. But you know what? What is it? Those who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it. We do know our history. What happened at Mount Manresa can't be allowed to happen again, and it's not going to happen again here. And a lot of that is because of the leadership of the Borough President. So thank you for a great week. Borough President Jimmy Otto.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good morning still. I have 3 more meetings with administration officials later on today. We have 2 more really big announcements still to make, but this will be the last time that you and I, Mr. Mayor, will be together publicly for City Hall in your borough. And I want to thank you for a really productive week. I want to thank you and your team. This is a great week for Staten Island. Thank you so much for the cooperation. I know it's hot out, but Lyme disease announcement, and I'm taking us up on our bait box suggestion. $2.5 million on Forest and Gulf intersection, a really important project for our jobs coast. A commitment to sustain consistent enforcement on the Staten Island Expressway and the Gowanus HOV, and trying to stop the illegal parking and the congestion in the bus lanes in Manhattan so Staten Islanders can get to and from work just a little quicker. A reconfiguration of Clove Road and Howard Avenue that has been a long time in coming, plus a commitment to work on a longer-term capital project process. $250,000 of TLC for our precious postcards, that incredible 9/11 memorial that the mayor said, you need it, you got it. Announcements later today on hypertension and a really creative way of addressing hypertension among African-American men. A big announcement on street cuts. If you follow us at Borough Hall, you know how passionate we are about our roads. Pave, baby, pave under this mayor. We can't let it get diced and sliced, and that legacy cut. A really, really, truly important thing for Staten Island, a conversation again about irrational development that sort of bleeds into the announcement today. We had our first meeting of officials to take another swing at that. And I won't go into the details of a whole host of meetings that my team and I have had with the top officials of the Blasio administration, including what I would call a substantive, informative, and fun meeting with an incredible chancellor that we had a couple of days ago. I love our new chancellor. And my favorite, my mother says she loves all of her children the same. I'm supposed to love all of my de Blasio officials the same, but my very favorite is Lorraine Grillo. If you want to get a job done right, give it to a busy woman. She is the CEO, the president, as the mayor said, of SCA, and now she's commissioner. She has 3 titles, and she is all of that. And she is now my relief that the mayor has appointed her as the DDC commissioner. We had a wonderful meeting. as well. And I have a lot of confidence in this process going forward, working with these good folks. It's been a heck of a week, Mr. Mayor. It's been a heck of a week. But this is bittersweet. This is a bittersweet announcement. I am very keenly aware that the St. John Villa family is still angry and hurt about the closing of this beautiful campus. I am the proud product of 17, 18 years of Catholic education, St. Dorothy's, Monsignor Farrell. I had the nuns, I had the Christian Brothers, and then I had the Jesuits at Fordham. So I can empathize and I can relate to how difficult this has been. And the mayor and I had a very heart-to-heart conversation recently about this, and we know that this is not going to assuage those families. As difficult as this is, or as difficult as this is to say, I'm sure it's even harder for the St. John family to hear, but even more painful than having this campus close is having this campus close and seeing this legacy diced and sliced into housing. And that was my plea to Lorraine, that was my plea to the administration, and they acted and they got it done. And now we have a chance to ensure that this splendid, splendid area continues to educate. I will close with this. Every time I speak about education, I think about my father, a guy who drove trains for a living across the city, who preached to his 4 sons that education was the way it would open doors that he did not have before him. And that has been internalized in me. It's internalized. It's personal for my staff. And we know that this impacts everything else that we do. We know that education and a quality education impacts everything else that this mayor does, every policy, every part of the city. And we want this property to continue in the rich tradition of St. John Villa. Again, I will close with this. I said to the Chancellor something I read, and I'm bragging and showing off. Priority, the word priority means the prior thing, one thing. And from 1400 to 1900, there was no plural. There was no priorities. It was the prior thing, the one thing, the highest thing, the most important thing. Priority number one for this administration, priority number one for the Borough Hall administration is education. And we are going to work collectively to make sure that this beautiful facility is true to, lives up to, and is worthy of the tradition of St. John Villa Academy. So thank you all.
So I want to say 2 things by way of closing. The first is, Jimmy, you and I have talked a lot about your dad, and he taught you so many powerful lessons, and I really want to thank you for taking them to heart. And I'm glad he got to see you succeed and do so much good, but the fact that you're achieving so much for the people of Staten Island means you're taking what he believed in and you're putting it into action every day, and that's the greatest way to honor a father. Let's give the borough president a round of applause. And finally, to say, you know, we live in a world where I often say to people, if you turn on the TV to watch the news, you kind of do it at your own peril, or you go online. You know, it's a strange time in history for everyone. A lot going on around the world, and it feels like there's always a crisis. I like us to remember there is good news in the world, and there's a lot of good people in the world. And as I've traveled this borough this week, so many people have come forward, including at the town hall meeting on Wednesday, who have solutions, who have ideas, who want to work together. I see it all over this island and all over this city. This is a site where something beautiful is going to happen, and it's a chance to get it right. So I think we're standing on a kind of sacred ground where we're going to actually be able to produce some very good news that's going to give people some heart and some hope, and going to serve parents like Taryn and her kids even find a way to make sure that a child as rambunctious as Salvatore gets a great education, and your whole family, like so many other Staten Island families, benefit from this new beautiful place. So thank you, everybody.